Good evening. I am going to call the May 4th, 2026 meeting of the Board of Education to order. We have two members who have excused absences tonight and one member who's stuck in the traffic accident and will be joining us soon. But Ms. Meeker, will you call the roll?
Yep, happy to. Jess Campbell is excused. Alex Du Bois is on his way. Ms. Hastings.
Here.
Ms. Higgins.
Here.
I am here. Ms. Minot.
Here.
Ms. Sadowski.
Here.
Ms. Walsh.
Here.
And Liz Boucher is excused.
Thank you. We have a quorum, just. Next item is approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any additions or subtractions they'd like to make to the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Ms. Sadowski moves the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Higgins. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The next item is approval of the consent agenda, which includes the budget work session minutes of March 2nd, March 4th, the Building and Sustainability Committee meeting of March 5th, the budget work session of March 6th, the budget work session of budget work session of March 9th, March 11th, March 16th, March 18th, the public hearing of March 23rd and March 25th, the budget work session of March 30th, and the budget work session of March 31st. The regular monthly meeting of April 6th, the City and Community Relations Committee meeting of April 6th, the Communications and Policy Committee meeting of April 8th, the Building Committee meeting of April 9th, the Instructional Committee of April 13th, the Executive Committee of April 20th, the Special Board of Education meeting of April 20th. Does someone move the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hastings. The motion is open for discussion. Ms. Meeker.
I just want to verify real quick. Mr. Dunn, have you looked at the minutes in the board packet and confirmed that your needed amendments from last month have been completed?
Yes.
And they're in the board packet as you need them to be?
As I need.
Okay.
I'm going to move to remove C, Building and Sustainability Committee. We're actually two separate meetings, so they need to be revised and separated there. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hastings. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Any other additions, subtractions, amendments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the consent agenda as amended?
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And with that, I would love to welcome up our friends from Beaver Meadow School.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to...
Before you go, Ms. Vance, parents, if you would like to come to the sides and behind us so you have a better viewing, photographing, video opportunity, you are welcome to do that. I know you don't want really the back of your kids' heads or my face, so.
We've got chairs here. You can borrow.
You'll be able to see better. Seeing some pretty good art stuff there.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to... we are delighted to be here tonight, and we are highlighting the arts at Beaver Meadow School. Those of you that know Beaver Meadow School and love Beaver Meadow School and also love Concord, you know that we are a school of the arts. So we are going to highlight some wonderful things that happen under the leadership of our art teacher, Mrs. Melissa Legassi.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. As an art teacher, I have the privilege of seeing creativity grow from those very first careful scissor cuts all the way to complex designs that connect with our community. What makes our art program truly special isn't just the projects, it's the voices, ideas, and confidence that develop in each student along the way. Tonight, you're not just going to hear about art, you're going to hear directly from the artists themselves. From our youngest learners who are just beginning to build foundational skills and discover what they create with their own hands, to our older students who are designing, collaborating, using technology, and even sharing their work beyond our school walls. Each one has a story to tell. As you listen, I invite you to notice not only what they made, but what they learned. Problem solving, perseverance, imagination, and pride in their work. These are the skills that art nurtures every single day. It is my honor to introduce some of our incredible student artists who will now share their experiences with you.
My name is Lucia. I am in kindergarten. I learned how to use my scissors in art class. I practiced cutting straight, curvy, and zigzaggy lines. I made roads and a little car for my project. Now I have my scissors license, and I will be a safe scissors driver. Hi, my name is Harper. I am in first grade. In art class, we use a black light to see our art glow. We used paint sticks, highlighters, and neon paint to make our flowers shine. Even our art room glowed in the dark. My bright blossom glows, and it helped me see art in a whole new way.
Hi, my name is Kareem. I am in second grade. In art class, we have a special time called Open Studio. This is when we get to choose what we want to create, like drawing, coloring, or building. We love working together to build and balance materials to make cool sculptures. We use our imagination, share ideas, and feel proud of what we make here. Is a tower I built with my friends. It took time, patience, and creativity to finish, and top of that, it was fun.
Hi, my name is Morgan and I am in third grade. In art class, we learned how to use a new tool called the comb saw. It is a safe and easy way to cut cardboard, and it makes building more fun. We used it to create bugs that are now displayed in the library, and other classes made collaborative sculptures, tropical birds, and lions. With the comb saw, we can turn what would be cracked into beautiful art using our imagination. We also use the Oasis Kinetic Sand Art Machine. First, we design our art using simple shapes. Then the machine draws our design in art for sand, and sand for everyone to see. It helps make our school feel calm, creative, and full of art.
Hi, my name is June and I'm in fourth grade. This year in art, we learned how to use Canva to build our digital art skills. We practiced editing, combining graphics, and using technology to create a brand new animal design. These projects help us grow our computer skills and explore new ways to be creative. At BMS, 3D printing is one of the most popular forms of art. We use Tinkercad to design ideas, then watch them come to life through the 3D printing process. It is exciting to see our designs turn from a digital idea into a real object we can hold. This year we learned how technology and art can come together in powerful and creative ways.
Hi, my name is Lean. I'm in 5th grade. Over the past 3 years, students in 3rd through 5th grade have created art inspired by local food businesses. Students have designed crumble cookie sculptures, Starbucks hot and cold drinks, and cake Pops, which were proudly displayed at those locations for the community to see. This year, we wanted to support a local business, so we created many pizza sculptures that were displayed at Constantly Pizzas for the community to enjoy. It has been exciting to see our artwork connect with real places and people in our community. Another important tradition at BMS is the Legacy Project. This is a project that every fifth grader completes before leaving BMS and moving on to middle school. It is a permanent art piece, and this tradition has been going strong for over 30 years. Since Mrs. Legacy took over, she has incorporated many different mediums, including 3D printed tiles, ribbon weaving, and diamond painting. This year, we are creating our legacy using Lego, and we are excited to design a lasting artwork that represents who we are and the mark we want to leave behind for all future BMS artists. Art is an important part of our school because it lets us express our ideas, build our skills, and share our creativity in so many different ways. From hands-on projects to digital design, community displays, and lasting tradition, art gives every student a chance to grow and shine. It brings us joy, helps us think in new ways, and connects us to each other in our community. Thank you for taking the time to celebrate all the amazing art we create at our school.
Yeah, so I brought a few examples of just some of the things that these amazing artists just shared. Some of the pizza sculptures we made out of Model Magic, some of the Canva animal art. The chomp saw has been very popular this year using cardboard. So we've been making birds, bugs, lions, and sometimes I just give them kind of free reign to just create whatever they want with it, and that's always a fun time. And a few of the 3D pieces for the 3D printer, that's always a popular project that we start in third grade, where they really get a lot of chance to create what they want through the 3D printer and kind of problem solve about functionality and how something's going to print and how to create in a CAD program. So I just shared a couple examples of some of the amazing things that these kids do at Beaver Meadow.
Yeah. Any board members have any questions for the students? I'm looking forward to coming and seeing this year's Legacy Project. If you haven't been to Beaver Meadow School and seen all of the years and years of projects, it's a great tradition. So, well, thank you very much for coming in tonight, guys.
Real quick question. What's that animal right there? What kind of bird is that? You don't know?
I don't know what that animal is.
We don't know? It's a bird. I have to use my imagination. I feel like parrot. I'm going for parrot, peacock. Well done, all of you.
While you guys clean up, and you are welcome to stay, but you can also go home because tomorrow is a school day, and assessment tests are starting in some of the schools tomorrow. I know that. I am going to move that the board go into the other room for non-public session under RSA 91A3, Section 2D, to discuss the acquisition, sale, or lease of real or personal property, and also to discuss matters related to personnel. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Higgins. Any discussion? This is a roll call vote. Ms. Meeker, would you call the roll?
Betcha. Mr. Du Bois?
Yes.
Ms. Hastings?
Yes.
Ms. Higgins?
Yep.
I am a yes. Ms. Minot?
Yes.
Ms. Sadowski?
Yes.
Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
All right. We're good to go.
And we hope to be back in about 15 minutes.
Have a good night, you guys.
Have a good night. Thank you. Move that we come out of non-public. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes. I am going to move that we seal the minutes on the personnel matter. Seconded by Ms. Higgins. This is a roll call vote. Ms. Meeker, would you mind calling the roll?
Working on it.
Oh, no. sorry.
Mr. Du Bois?
Yes.
Ms. Hastings?
Yes.
Ms. Higgins?
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Minot?
Yes.
Ms. Sadowski?
Yes.
Ms. Walsh?
Yes. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to welcome our two student representatives for their report.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone had a relaxing vacation. I know Clem and I did. So updates we have is that Matt Scovey and Donna Hillier were selected as CHS Distinguished Educators, while Gabe Cohen and Katie McDonough were semifinalists for Teacher of the Year. The week before break, CHS hosted 2 finalists of candidates for the principal position, and students were able to have a direct involvement in the process through panels. And also before break, Holly Keenan and Maddie Short showcased their self-written and directed play, Cabin Thoughts, alongside Mental Health Awareness Club, Getting to the Why, the Bow School District, and Merrimack Valley School to present it. It aimed to promote awareness and encourage open conversations surrounding mental health. And if you have some time from May 7th to the end of the month, go and celebrate the creativity and hard work from the AP Art, Advanced Art, Ceramics 2, Photography 2, and Metalwork, along with the members of National Art Honor Society and National Junior Art Honor Society from Runlet Middle School at the Carriage House, Kimball Jenkins School of Art. And also today was the first day of AP testing. So today was AP Bio and AP Euro, and AP testing will be continuing throughout this week and next week.
Alrighty. Hi. And some upcoming events. We have the career fair that's going to be happening at CHS soon. The CHS yard sales on the 9th. It's going to start in the courtyard, but if the weather does not prevail and it starts to rain, it'll move to the gym. And then May 14th, some Deerfield students who are eligible to vote will vote in the senior lounge for the first time. Concord High students on the 15th at the clerk's office. The Dear Evan Hansen show premieres on the 16th from 2 to 7. The 8th grade parent night is on the 18th from 5:30 to 7:30. Senior scholarship awards are on the 20th from 5 to 8. And then on the 21st, CHS and RMS are having a small ensemble concert from 6 to 8. And then May 27th, distinguished educators and retirees are going to have a little celebration from 6 to 7:30. May 28th, CRTC is having their commencement night from 6 till whenever. And then May 29th, senior prom at the Grapponi Center from 6 to 10. Okay, that's everything.
Thank you. And I think Erin has made a decision based on her wardrobe. You want to tell us where you're going and what you're going to do?
I'm going to Middlebury College, and I'll be majoring in chemistry and minoring in Arabic.
Wow. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right. Superintendent.
All right, so before the meeting got started, you had an opportunity to meet with some of our central office administration candidates. We have Kaylee Rookie coming in for Student Services Director at the SAU level, and Chris Gallo as Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment. In addition, they stole my thunder, Teacher of the Year recognitions. Good job. No, good job. I'd rather hear it from you than me. So. Again, Mr. Cohen and Mrs. McDonough are finalists. We did at one point in time have 3 people in the running for this, and Gabe and Katie continue to move on to the next round. So we're very hopeful that they will select one of these 2 individuals because they're outstanding educators.
And will you just talk about what they teach?
So Gabe Cohen is currently our band music teacher. He's also the district music coordinator. He assists with some of the coordination of events at the elementary as well as the middle school level, assists in securing instruments as well as taking inventory of what we need at the various schools to make sure they have what they need to run their programs. So Gabe is also pretty active in the music community in the greater Concord area. Yeah, big time. Kate McDonough is currently our world language lead teacher at the high school. She teaches world language both at Latin. She teaches multiple, but Latin predominantly over between middle and high. And she's been in this role going on at least 10 years. I'm sorry, I should know that to the T. But she also she goes above and beyond to assist students in experiencing the world language, bringing culture into the classroom, helps with coordination of trips across the world for our students. We just recently had the Italy trip that a group of students in world language went on. She assists in coordinating those efforts. She's really the person behind the scenes doing a lot of the culture and world language development, both for RMS and the district, and she was pivotal in helping us move world language from the 9th grade through 8th, 7th, and 6th, getting that streamlined experience. So that's what they do. Just a little bit of what they do, and beyond connecting with students and families. And then just an update on Pittsfield School District, and we're partnering with the Concord School District. They do have a meeting May 7th where they will vote on something to present to us that we'll receive here at Central Office. We'll bring it to the board for the consideration and discussion. With the timeline, Jack and I have thought that our timeline's more of a discussion and potentially a vote in June's board meeting, but.
And that's for superintendent.
That's for superintendent services, SAU services. So, and what that would entail, part of what's going on behind the scenes is a conversation between us and them, discussing things such as we're going to have some additional responsibilities on human resources, on our benefits. They are in different benefits than the Concord School District benefits. So coordination of how we streamline that, do open enrollment for 2 different districts, payroll, their payroll, our payroll. So there's a lot that's going to impact our payroll. Our business office, Jack has a million things on his plate. I am not under the illusion I can just put another thing on his plate, but we have a fantastic people working in our business office that can take on more and do have the capacity to do so, and with support. And so we're looking at how we can make sure that we can fulfill these needs, but at the same time, the people who are here in the Concord SAU office also be able to fill our needs to the Concord School District. So it's right now conversation back and forth between the districts on responsibilities, how it would work out, and stuff is happening behind the scenes, and we should receive a contract reflective of those conversations, a proposal for the board to consider after their May 7th meeting.
Thank you. Any questions for the superintendent?
I actually did just want to give one more shout out to the amazing district staff here. Krista Mers was in a play this weekend. He played Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird. He was incredible. And so it was just really cool to see. So congrats to him.
Mr. Cashman, facilities update?
Facilities update. So over the past couple of weeks, we've been doing the summer planning for the summer work, which includes the painting, site work, and landscaping that we had covered in the budget sessions. RMS, we were able to complete a sidewalk ramp, complete reconstruction for the balance of the year and until 2028. That was a nice improvement. Mechanical upgrades continue at Krista McAuliffe and Millbrook School for the chillers. Those were in the process of being replaced and they're wrapping up. We had our annual inspections of our gymnasiums also occur. I wanted to also mention the custodians worked hard last week while the buildings were closed, getting everything cleaned and ready for the balance of the school year. So they made some good headway. If I will, I'd like to roll into the middle school update.
Yep.
We met on April 21st with the Traffic Operations Committee. When I say we, I meant Rebecca Brown, myself, and the architects, Jack as well. And we reviewed with them not just the plan that we talked about during the previous building committee earlier in the month, but we also shared all of the comments and reflected them in that plan to the TOC committee. At the end of it, the TOC was in agreement that the proposed plan that we had was, in fact, the safest plan for that school location. So I wanted to report out on that. Some other good news. The early bid packages have been received. They're being analyzed by Harvey. We're going to be meeting with them in the next week or so as they reconcile the estimates and evaluate the contracts to start on the early bid process. Want to focus on the June 8th and the June 4th, which is the upcoming building committee. We're going to look at the numbers and the VE options, as well as, and we'll see it in the schedule, on June 8th, there'd be a special board meeting to also review that.
So we don't think we'll be ready for May 21st, because we had
It's-
tentatively scheduled for that.
We had tentatively talked about it,
Yeah.
and in speaking with them today, there's a lot to do with the reconciliation process.
Okay.
So they preferred, if that's still a good date, 2 good dates to do it in
Okay.
June. In the board packet, it's our typical layout. I did want to make one small correction, call your attention to page 86. The building permit that I listed in there, what I'd replace it with is our foundation permit is what we're going to be applying for mid-May. So just in a couple of weeks. The building permit, we will submit for that after the 100% building plans are done in late July, early August. So I'll make that correction, update the report, but I just wanted to call your attention to it.
Thank you. Ms. Meeker?
Yeah, just going back to the TOC meeting, which is the Traffic Operations Committee, is that a city committee?
It is.
So
It's
are
the-
there formal minutes from that document their
I would expect that there would
recommendation?
be. They do have them come out, so I can check with the traffic engineer and see where that's at.
Okay. And do you know how many people are on the TOC committee for the city?
There's probably 7 or 8. You have the city engineer, several people in the, all rank and file within the city.
It's all city employees.
Right. Are there
Yes,
any
that's what-
citizens
I'm
on
sorry,
the committee?
yes. Yeah.
Okay. There's no citizen appointees on that committee that you know of?
I don't believe so, but I'll double check that, Kara, and let you know.
Thank you, Matt.
Ms. Sadowski?
I don't envy you having to deal with traffic because I know it's definitely the bulk of feedback we've gotten in our inboxes lately. I did have a question. This current iteration of the plan that you've submitted to the TOC, could you walk me through the drop-off plan for individuals who have wheelchairs and handicap vans? I know you've seen it as
I
some
have.
constituent feedback. What's your thinking?
So there's 6 ADA spaces right in the front south end of the school. So parents would pull in there, drop off on the sidewalk, and then go halfway up the sidewalk into taking a left into the front of the building.
Excellent. Follow-up?
Yes.
And for wheelchair buses, they will be dropping off where?
On the north side of the property, right up against, so I don't know if you can, the north pass, there's 2 handicap parking spaces, but the buses would pull right up in front, and with the other students, they'd unload right onto the sidewalk.
So the
So
same
disabled
place as the other
students-
buses?
That's exactly.
They would be mixed together.
Excellent.
Yes.
Great. So no segregated spot for children
No.
with disabilities.
No, our
Excellent.
buses take one path in, go right by the north end of the building, drop off, and then exit.
Love it. Thank you, Matt.
Sure.
Further questions? The other item is more advisory, LEED certification. Was in our plan from the beginning. It's not called LEED anymore, right? It's called something else?
LEED, it used to be called CHIPS.
Oh, okay.
Now called LEED.
Now it's called LEED. There was a discussion about whether we would not go through the process as a cost-saving measure, although still do the work that would qualify us for it. There were no cost savings that could be identified and promised to us from not doing the savings, so the building committee recommended continuing with the LEED certification process. I don't think we need a vote on that since it's already in our plan as a district, but wanted to let you know.
But
We're not taking it out.
Okay.
So, if we were taking it out, but if anyone would like to make a motion.
I voted against it in the committee, so I would continue to vote against it.
Well, you are always welcome to make a motion.
I would make a motion that we not pursue LEED certification for the middle school project.
Is there a second?
I'll second it for purpose of discussion.
Okay, that's fine. Would you like to speak to your motion?
Yeah, so you said there were no cost savings. We were told there would be a $14,000 cost savings. I don't see the benefit of the certification itself. We are going to do all of the efficiency measures, all of the commissioning. We will realize all of the operational cost savings. I don't see and originally we were pursuing the certification because it would give us points in the state aid application. The certification itself, I don't see having value. I'm sure we can use $14,000 for something that has more immediate value to that project. I know it's a small amount of money, but when you think about it, it's still, a couple homeowners' entire years worth of taxes.
I will say that the the ultimate recommendation from the building committee to keep it in was that the $14,000 was essentially the cost of applying for the certification, and that the thought was if we were going to do all of the work, then we should have the certification. That we might as well get the certification to show and to have that confirmation for our residents that we did do all this work around energy efficiency and things and sustainability.
So we already paid $14,000?
No, that, Ms. Mika.
Is LEED certification something that has to be re-upped once we achieve it? So it's a one-time $14,000 cost?
We were told it was one time.
One time, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know from my perspective that community members very early in the process, my constituents who were saying, okay, you've got this expensive school, I want to make sure that at least we're doing X. And LEED certification for me is a way to communicate that we are committed to that process, and it's a way to just sort of put a cap on the work that we've done. I do know that some people consider it in name only kind of a thing, but for me, it's a way to hold us accountable for that work.
Ms. Hastings?
Not being on the building committee and not being a builder myself, I guess I'm trying to figure out the value of it. And then what I'm hearing, please correct me if I'm incorrect, is that it's a certification that would explain or say that we've done all of the energy efficiency work that we needed to do to be as thoughtful about this process as we could. Is that correct?
Yes, it's an acknowledgement that we have met certain standards, and the building committee actually, there are 3 levels, and the building committee actually recommended that we aim for the middle level of the standards, gold, I think it is. So that is what they recommended, because it is, as Ms. Meeker said, like proof that we've done what we said we were going to do in the beginning, which was try and build as a sustainable school as possible.
I understand that. I like the idea if it's something that we can share with the public adequately. I mean, if we get this certification and nobody knows what it is and what it means, then it's a useless document, basically. If we can make sure that the public understands what this certification means to them, then maybe the $14,000 is worth it. It seems like a lot for a certification.
Ms. Higgins.
Does it, what do we get from it other than the chance to say to the public, look, we did our job?
So you get a plaque on the wall. To me, it's like you have a garden, right? And you can adopt all organic gardening practices, and you essentially have an organic garden and organic produce. Or you can go get your garden organic certified, which costs a lot of money, so that you can prove to others that you are adopting organic gardening practices, right? You can do all the things and know that you have met all of the standards and done things the right way, and you're achieving the operational savings. And you can go get the certification that is a plaque on the wall that shows that you've done it.
So are we going to do a crappy job if we don't get the certification? If we decide not to do it, does that mean we won't do what we're supposed to do?
No, and I think that's the point that architects and the contractors were saying, you're already down that path, what is this additional amount that you're really financing over 25 years, which is $46 a month.
And
When you
I,
break that out.
they originally brought this to us and sort of said, oh, it's going to save money. And then it came back with, it's going to save $14,000. And I will say, and I like our architects and our builders, but to me, it was like, we don't want to do the paperwork. And I get it, but like, we're already paying them to do the paperwork. So I feel like if they can't save us money for that, then we should get the plaque on the wall. Like, you know, because we discussed it over 2 meetings and they said that there's a savings, and then they came back and the savings is only not getting the certification, and not any operational savings from them. And so if we, in the beginning, said we want this, we're going to pay you to keep track of all this, now they're coming to us and saying, we're not going to do that. We don't, you know, let's not do that. But there's no savings associated with that. And that's rubbed me a little bit the wrong way too, all of it.
I agree. Additional savings.
And so for me, I do think the people who care about this do know what it means. And the Sustainability Committee recommended keeping it, you know, which is our citizen committee that's focused on that as well. So we can save this vote for our vote section so people have time to think about it.
Could I
If
just
there's no
ask Mr. Cashman what he?
I was going to say, why don't I throw out a suggestion? We talked about the upcoming 2 back-to-back, the building committee meeting in early June, followed by a special board meeting. We'll have both the architects and Harvey Construction here. Why not hear it from the horse's mouth and decide then? Because it's a perfect forum. You're going to have, on the 8th, you're going to have the board meeting. They're going to be here. We're going to be talking about the numbers. And then at that time, you can clearly make that decision. Not that, I'm not saying clearly not now, but I think let the experts in the field that do this for a living, let them come and justify whether or not it's important for the board to
So
move
we
ahead
just
or not.
table her
I can table my motion.
until then.
motion to table it to June 8th.
Some, second? Oh,
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Minogue, seconded by Ms. Higgins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We're going to move item
14A?
14A up to now,
Okay.
which is the acquisition of property.
Yep, so the acquisition of property. So the district was presented with an opportunity to purchase a property that is adjacent to the middle school project. Would we be looking at this property if the middle school was not going here? No. But we see an opportunity for some future savings and returning some funds from the project. So this would be purchased with project funds. So the address is 20 Conant Drive. This property is right adjacent to property that we own. This was slated to be a temporary parking lot. On the right side is property that we owned that is, if I can get there, the path to Abbott Downing. So this is situated right in the middle of there. Now, as part of this project, in the budget is slated to have 3 trailers, 3 construction trailers. 2 would be on the southern side, and then there'd be a smaller one that would be added later for when the building is torn down and the fields are added. All in all, those fields, they're probably going to run about $250,000 to $300,000, and at the end, you get absolutely nothing for them besides the operation and use of it. And I'm sure the insulation is not as nice as this is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home with plumbing. It has updated HVAC system and hot water heater. This would be used by the district for administrative offices on site for the property. This will also be used by Harvey, HMFH, when I say administrative, Matt, and the clerk of the works. So this eliminates that expense by purchasing this, and then at the end, when the project's done, the board can either decide to sell it, put it back on the tax rolls, or does this get incorporated to solve any parking if there is any parking. I mean, we're increasing the number of parking spots with this new project from where we are now. But the board will have the option to do it at once at the end of the project.
And this property is under an acre?
It is under an acre. It's about 19,000 square feet. So you will have the ability to sell it, if you decide to at the end. But this was a very quick opportunity. We had that non-public for you tonight because there was stuff that happened while people were away that we just needed to brief you on to make sure that there was a comfort level to move forward with this. But we would be looking to settle for this by the end of the month and start using this as the administrative offices for the project.
And the purchase and sales agreement on this expires when?
Tomorrow.
Thank you. Ms. Higgins?
So to be clear, purchasing this would be akin to taking the money that we would have to rent 3 trailers with, and we use that money to buy this. Then we get to use this, and then when we're done, we can sell it and recoup the money, or utilize it into the project, or make a great drop-off that buses and cars could all use together.
We'll let the architects
Anyway.
and
no, I'm
traffic
just-
people decide.
I
But-
just want people at home
yeah.
to know that it's not like a whimsical.
Well, the purpose was to blend, number one. Number two, this isn't saying you're not going to have trailers on site because, man, you're going to have subcontractors.
Right.
The trades are going to have theirs. But this is going to reduce the number of trailers.
Right.
We knew just for the district administrative side, there was going to need to be 3.
Right.
Now we're going to be able to utilize this.
Right.
We're going to utilize the internet off of existing buildings, so there won't be recurring internet charges, and they'll be on our network. And it'll be much cheaper, we see, to be able to operate this than running 3 trailers with those electrical things and running all that noise. The other thing is, as you heard from observation from the planning board, if we make this temporary parking and this were to sell to an abutter, I'm sure you're going to get complaints about the cars parking in at night and parking lights in their rooms. So this would avoid at least that portion of it for this,
Oh, yeah, right, we're the abutter.
because we are the abutter and we're situated with that walkway.
Ms. Meeker?
Can you just, now that we're in public,
Yeah.
discuss the issue around the deed, the neighborhood, the use of the house, and that you've already communicated with the city about the next steps?
Yep. So a couple things. One, there is a deed restriction on this that requires it to be a residential property. And we, even though it has that in the deed, we still are subject to 674-54, which is the same thing as the school, which exempts us from certain things for building projects. So even though there is that deed restriction, we still plan to blend with the neighborhood, and there is an ability for us to use this for what we're using it for. So we're temporary custodians. Did I answer your question? Did I miss something?
Nope. Well, and also that you have communicated with the city about
Yep.
next
So the
steps.
other thing we did is Attorney Pollack, who was here, and I went and met with 2 city officials to just make sure we were following the process. If you were to approve this, we will write a letter to them, which will go to the planning board as an advisory, letting them know that this is what the plan is for that. And if we need to go in front of the planning board, we will go in front of the planning board. But we're just following the RSA, and hopefully this all works out. And at the end, it works out for whatever is decided once the project is finished.
Ms. Hastings?
I can hear people shouting at their televisions as they're watching this, thinking, here they go again, right? And I want it to be real clear that if we go ahead with this, it's because we feel that it's a money-saving, short-term solution to our trailer problems. And then what a future board decides to do with it after the project is up to a future board. But that it really makes a lot of sense to do this because of the location, because of the fact that it's surrounded by district property already. And it does allow us to not have to rent trailers that we will get nothing back for. Okay, I just want to make that real clear.
Something that retains value
Yes.
as
Yeah.
opposed to losing it.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Anything else? Okay, this is vote 16G.
Yep, so this will be after public comment, but the price for this was $372.5.
Thank you.
Okay?
Instructional committee, Ms. Hastings.
We had a great conversation about some new programs and that I'm hoping Assistant Superintendent Yarlott will talk to us about and bring us through. We will have some votes on this a little bit later, I believe. The instructional committee wholeheartedly supports these two new programs and hope that you will as well after you hear about them a little bit.
Thank you very much. We did 2 presentations at the instructional committee last month, and I wanted to first of all acknowledge that there's probably many teachers sitting on the edge of their seats right now tonight wondering about the outcome of this. It's been a very rigorous process, one that has been very deliberate. We started off with a 25-member group of administrators and teachers who served as the selection committee. And by that, what I mean is we started off looking at verifiable science, the science of reading programs that met Ed Reports, a very rigorous research firm, and looked at those programs that met all the standards within those reports, and then selected 5 to review. And we had dates where the selection committee had visitors come, publishers come and present the programs, and then we had a very rigorous rubric that we went through looking to select 2 programs that we would pilot. So I want to thank those 25 members because it was a very arduous process. And then we began piloting 2 programs. One was called it's by the publisher Amplify, and it's called CKLA. And the other one is by Savis Publishers, and it's called My View, K through 5, and at the 6th grade level, it's called My Perspectives. One of the non-negotiables was that we selected a program that actually went into 6th grade, because we always talk about that continuity from when the students transition from 5th grade to 6th grade, that we're more aligned. And we did that with the iReady math program. We brought it up to 6 so that students weren't, here's your new Runlet school, and here's a different curriculum, and here's a different program. So we want the same language, same structures that students were familiar with. And then throughout the pilot, the teachers who had volunteered for this sort of did a hard stop in what they were currently teaching, which, by the way, is the Fountas and Pinnell, which is no longer vetted by the Science of Reading and is not a program that we can be using and does not meet the RSA, which requires us to have a scientifically proven research-based program. Throughout that time, the publishers came and offered professional development, did observations, did actual model lessons, and then we had the very difficult decision of bringing everybody together and making a decision about which program we would adopt. We brought everybody from, all the teachers from both programs and all of the administrators into the same room, and again, had a very, very tight process by which we evaluated the programs based on rubrics, based on student feedback, based on assessment data, a wide plethora of criteria. And in the end, it was a unanimous vote to bring forth to the board My View and My Perspectives from Savis. So at the instructional committee, we showed what the students would gain, what they would learn, what the students would see in this process, and also suggested a 5-year purchase cost for a total amount of $668,943 that would be split over 2 years, and that would be coming out of the instructional fund. Included in addition to that, there is $110,900 that would come out of the professional development Title II funds over the 2 years, which could spread into more years than that. Any questions about that? Yes?
After 5 years, do we have to pay another $668,000 or whatever it will be at that time?
It's a 5-year purchase, and it would have to be recycled, yes. Just like all curriculum programs are recycled.
Everything's a subscription.
And what happens in grade 7? You said it's very important to go to 6 so that there's a transition from 5 to 6, but then when they go from 6 to 7, they go to a new curriculum?
So they would go remain with their current curriculum. We offered them the option of participating in this pilot, and they chose not to. However, there was a 7th grade teacher on the committee who helped work with the 6th grade pilot teachers.
so that there was a third person looking at the programs and being able to have that input, like how does this, what's the through thread? And also just looking at the standards, like what standards would they continue to teach in the, if you recall, well, you may not, but a year ago, we did a K through 12 ELA continuum of our curriculum standards.
Who chose not to participate? When you said they chose not to, who was they?
It was grade 7 teachers in consult with their reading specialist and principal.
Okay, so for non-educators though, 1st through 6th grade is standard elementary school age. So developmentally, learning-wise, curriculum development, K through 6, 1 through 6 is standard. So what happens in 7th grade is we stop using the formulated math programs and we go into algebra or pre-algebra. It's a shift time where now it's much more subject-based. English class or language arts becomes much more preparatory for high school as opposed to getting ready to prepare for high school. So as an educator, I can understand the thought process. If our 7th grade feels that what they're doing is awesome and working, then they wouldn't necessarily.
I get that, but going back to sort of what we talked about with our new incoming people, like assessment, like it may be perfect and it may be working, but did we verify that before they opted out?
They participated in some previews and.
No. I said, did we verify that our program is working before we said, okay, you don't have to.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing what you're doing.
We've seen gradual increases in our scores. 7th grade, is the SAS scores. So
Yep.
we have
We
seen
have
gradual.
SAS,
We have
and we do
yeah,
iReady as well.
yeah. We've done the iReady, and they do the iReady, and we have seen gradual increases. We have not seen decreases, which would really concern me.
Okay. I just think, I think it's really important to have teacher input and things like that, but also know that change is difficult and that we have to have a standard for when we say we're going to change, and we have to have a standard for when we say we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and it has to be something that's a little bit removed from, a few people deciding. It has to be based on something,
Well, I think.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
We found ourselves in a situation with K to 6
Yeah.
where we have to make a
Yes.
change.
Right.
And in 7th and above, they may have made that change more recently and aren't in a position where they feel they need to. But I agree, being able to answer the questions, is it working?
I mean, it may be, but I'm the parent. Full disclosure, the parent of a 7th grader, and he's very engaged in his reading classes. But I also look at the books and go, "Are these engaging?" They're all boy books.
So are they engaging
for everybody?
Right.
They're he's very engaged. He loves them, but is this? So I just want to make sure that we're using the. As we go up in the grades, teachers have more autonomy, and that's great, and it allows them to be creative. And our teachers do wonderful, offer amazing classes, but we just need to make sure that they're based on agreed upon standards and delivering agreed upon results.
I think, to what Brenda said, one, it was the immediate requirement by 2027. We have a K through 6 program. K through 5. Right. But the 6th grade has been traditionally, through our SAS and iReady data, has been a huge cliff. Performance-wise. So when we start looking at the alignment of the standards in the program and the cohesiveness of the reading programs we're doing at the elementary level, and to Brenda and Barb's point, developmentally where the students are at, K through 6 tend to be packaged together. It makes sense why they did that to begin the initial focus, and the requirement was around the K through 5. But what I would also say is a continuous curriculum review is something that exists all the time in the building, and that's something that we can discuss moving forward. We now have K through 6 mapped out. What is our curriculum review around reading and writing, and the content knowledge and all the fluency and all that stuff, building off of that from 7th grade on.
Well, and maybe we implement this and we suggest to 7th grade teachers next year, why don't you pilot the 7th grade version of this now that we're implementing it in 6th grade? That's an option.
And those are things we can absolutely look at.
And we may not need to.
Yep.
But I'm just saying that we can't to say, okay.
No, I would agree. Like we should be making informed decision using data, both quantitative and qualitative. From the the qualitative, hear out the teachers, but have the quantitative data that supports whatever decisions made. I would agree.
This is a K through 6
Yep.
presentation.
Any other questions on ELA?
How, both of my daughters are in classrooms that have been piloting this, so I've asked them a ton of questions, but I just want to ask some of the same questions. How computer necessary is this curriculum?
So everyone will have an account to sign into K through 6, and the time varies from 15 minutes in kindergarten and 20 minutes in first grade is very minimal, up to not exceeding 30 minutes in any grade level.
A day,
Other
a
than-
week?
My sixth grader told me that there's assessments, but they can be done on the Chromebook or in a paper book.
That's
There's
correct.
both versions.
We did see textbooks.
Yes.
Yeah. So aside, I'm saying aside from the assessments,
Yeah,
because
okay.
the assessments will be an outlier for how often they're on the computers, but it's no more than a half hour, and it's reduced to 15 minutes at the
Is
lower
that
elementary.
daily or weekly?
Daily.
The other piece is the presenters were all very pro pencil paper. Like, what they liked about it in their pilot was that they weren't locked into having to read on a screen all the time. There was, and you have disposables, you go home with your workbook when it's full. But they felt that this was the program that they liked, had a lot more ability to pick up a pencil and pick up a book rather than.
And that's something we'll have to discuss later tonight, I think, as well, so.
But I just wanted to make sure that if we've
Yeah.
been talking a lot about screen
Yes.
usage, that we were not locking ourselves
No.
into a screen-dependent curriculum.
Yes, that was huge on our side.
No,
And
that
even
was-
the things that are currently screen-dependent can be paper and pencil in this program.
Got it, thank you.
The other advantage of this particular program is it does translate into 100 different languages, so that if students need text translated, they are able to access that. The second presentation to the instructional committee was the adoption of an Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry program from grades 7 through 11. And in this particular case, it's the Carnegie program. Similarly, we convened a committee, a review committee, that was made up of 11 members, and we ended up selecting the Carnegie math program. And then we put it into the hands of every single algebra, geometry, and advanced geometry, advanced algebra teacher at Runlet and high school for a chance to pilot. Again, we had on-site support, on-site professional development, model lessons, shadowing teachers, and from those teachers, it was a unanimous vote in support of adopting Carnegie. And at that particular presentation, we shared that a proposal that a 3-year purchase would be $199,124, and a 5-year purchase would be $280,386. So the tendency was for everyone to go towards that 5-year purchase. That would also come out of the instructional trust funds, and we would seek $36,000 in Title II funds for professional development.
Ms. Higgins?
One thing that struck me, and Brenda, correct me if I'm wrong, but the structure of the lessons was such that your entry-level things you needed to do to start the lesson were doable by everybody. And so, the big question we ask every principal candidate or teacher candidate is, how do you take care of your struggling learners and your really smart kids at the same time? And this program was fascinating in its the way that it was structured, so that when you went home to do homework, like as a struggling math student, I'd get home and sit at my table and remember nothing. I remembered it in my desk because I was in my classroom and it all, but the homework is set up that it's all right there. So, I mean, that's what stuck out to me, remembering what it was like for me to learn math. And then when everyday math came in, when I was teaching at Walker, and I had all these learning disabled students that looked at me like I was speaking French. This program, like, I wish I could explain it better.
It's easy to differentiate for all of your learners with this program, and the excitement that the teachers had about it made me excited. And I'm a math phobic person, so I was like, oh, maybe I should sit in on this class. So. It really was.
And they had student feedback from struggling learners that were like,
I can do this.
Yeah,
you saw their confidence
Yeah.
growing,
Yeah.
and it was great to see.
At the same time, the high-level learners can do all those things, and, it's not like they had to follow some tedious thing. They could soar right ahead.
They could go ahead,
Yeah.
right? So they were able to do different things based on their level of understanding and ability, and they saw the struggling math students ended up going a lot further than they ever expected. So, and the kids were so excited about it too.
And there was more confidence in the discussions. And I don't remember how that came up, but it was pretty. Well, it was just good to listen to because you never hear good things about math class. Sometimes it's.
These are the things I really want us to start getting out a little bit more to the community in different ways, because there's so many really good things happening in our schools around education and learning that I think people need to know. Even if you don't have students in the school district, it's important to know what's happening and how it can affect you, and why it's so important that we invest in these kind of programs. And 5 years makes sense. It's a typical program. You have a couple of years to learn it, get it going, you get good with it, and then things sometimes change. The curriculum will change, or the science will change around the reading, when we've seen that a lot. So 5 years makes sense.
Any other questions? All right. These are votes A and B. Do you want to report out on your iPad discussion and whether there's...
It was very limited because our discussions around these two new programs were very detailed.
Okay.
So we haven't really had a great conversation as the instructional committee. We thought we would bring it and have it all together. I guess I'll start by saying I would love to see us go to class sets for K-2, and then individual 3 up. I've been told by teachers and instructors that getting computers into each hand at 3rd grade at the beginning of the year would be enough time for them to be ready for the testing that they have to take, and that the younger students would still have had exposure to them and how to log in, and they'll know how to do that through their class sets. But if we're paying all of that money for them to sit in cabinets, which is what we're hearing, I don't know. We had asked you to look at the data to see how much in the lower grades they are actually being used, because we were being told 15 minutes to half an hour a day, which doesn't seem likely. But were you able to pull that data?
So I pulled together the elementary principals and asked for that, to pursue this conversation. And they respectfully asked that they would like to put together a committee that includes teachers and the digital learning specialists and the principals, and make a recommendation to the instructional committee based on that information. And it was based sort of like some small nuances, like if a student has a sign-in on their iPad, they have to sign in. If another student takes it, if that student didn't sign out and they start to work on the other computer, then there's an issue with some data privacy, et cetera. So we'd have to have some really tight procedures in place for the sharing. The elementary principals were not prepared or ready to make a recommendation, and had asked if they could do a study committee.
But we thought we'd be able to pull the data to see how much they are actually being used during the day. Did we do that?
No, not over vacation. No, that did not happen.
So the challenge I think we have is that we're supposed to buy new iPads, and it's how many do we buy? And so it's sort of a push-pull, because Jack is saying we need to make a decision or it's going to start to cost us more, and we don't want to invest in what we're not sure is the best educational thing. And I respect the privacy concerns, but we used to only have in kindergarten, not too long ago,
all grades.
we
K to
only
5.
had a few, and we managed that in the past. So
And I'm sure we can set up so that if they're idle for a certain amount of time, it auto logs you out. Right.
So Jack has put together some contingency plans based on whatever way we decided to go, whether it was purchasing or delaying purchasing, so we could dig in a little bit deeper.
So I had more of a conversation today, and based on your concerns, we've held off on purchasing them. What I've asked for is the list of what are absolutes that we need to replace. For example, if they're communication devices for students, one-on-one, those kind of things, let's figure out how to harness that. But we're not going to look to finance 700 of them and replace every one of them. We're going to let them drag out another year. So this gives you guys the opportunity and that flexibility.
Yeah.
We didn't want to put you in a place, I mean, I know you went through the budget process and approved it, but we definitely sensed that there was some wobbliness there and didn't want you to be in a place where I'm committing for 4 years to, these things at 0% or 2%, and it kind of falls off the radar. So that's where we are, if that helps you.
I feel like almost every week in the news, I see another school district that adopts a screen use restriction policy, right? Los Angeles just did it. That was huge.
Yeah.
I think we need to look closely at, yes, number of devices per student, but also we could also do it by having a policy that says for
Number of
certain
minutes.
grades, certain ages, our guidance is that it's not more than X.
And that's, I think, what the discussion was. We want the policy, we don't want the budget to drive the policy,
Exactly.
but we also don't want the
we don't want to buy a
deadline.
bunch
So I
of
think
devices that we won't use.
So I think this is a good.
So
We're here to help.
as it is, then we'll reuse the devices we have this
Yep,
year.
we're going to go
next year?
through every device, and ones that are they're done.
Yeah.
Because Brenda, as you know, when you get a hold of something, they tuck them aside and hold on to them. So we got to find out what little creatures are out there and try to gain them back and get them all onto this new network on how we're going to manage them in what's called our MDM, which is our mobile device manager. And I'll have more conversation if they're in there. Are we able to get more? I know we're able to lock the devices down more, but what are those things like the auto log out? Can we see screen time? Can we see it by student ID, if we wanted to see that, or by class or by school, but I'll get that data.
Okay.
All right, but we will work with our existing
great.
things
Thank
to
you.
make
We
it work.
appreciate it.
Well,
We understand that
it's come up a couple
scary
times
for
and-
the instruction people too, because they've become confident in using them, and I understand the positive parts of it, but there's also a negative, and we want to make sure that we're doing what's best for our students.
Exactly. Okay.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Meeker?
Yeah, and to the point about gathering data, I can totally understand why there would be an insecurity about even just collecting data before we even have a policy, right? Like, teachers have been using their best judgment in the use of these devices, and so for us to sort of, lay judgment on data as it comes in, like, oh, this is longer than we thought, or why is this happening? But as we build out that guidance, as we come up with policy for what we expect for screen time usage in the district, then we can start pulling that data to verify that that's happening.
And I do want to clarify, I think our teachers are using their judgment, their professional, judgment, and it may just be codifying what we already do, because maybe we're already following best practices, right? But I think parents and the community at large might get some reassurance to know that just because we have one-to-one devices currently, that doesn't mean that a kindergartner is spending all day on an iPad.
Right.
Anything else from instructional, Ms. Hastings?
That was it.
Great, thank you. City and Community Relations, I think Ms. Minot joined the meeting with the city last week.
Yeah, because they.
Yeah, unfortunately, there wasn't much flexibility in that scheduling, and so it was during school vacation week. So I was able to attend, and Kara Meeker was there as well. There was a good discussion. The outcome of the meeting is that we're going to have another meeting of the subcommittee on Wednesday, May 20th at 4 p.m. We were going to have a city and community meeting that evening anyway, so I think my thought was that was going to replace that meeting, or it could be back-to-back, I don't know. But we went through the list of proposed improvements and tried to differentiate. There will be minutes.
Because I know nothing about.
Yeah.
They did.
Several phone calls, but
Okay.
no more answer back.
They did
Yeah.
share them today.
So the bulk of the discussion was going through agreeing that we needed essentially we ended up agreeing on what we had asked for at our previous meeting here of the school board. We ended up focusing on needs versus nice to haves, right? We all agree that it would be great to have more parking. And it would be great to have locker rooms, but those are nice to haves, and those are not immediate needs. And so David Gill is going back to VHB to get an updated focus cost estimate on the needs, which I think the needs were the same thing that we agreed were the needs, which is a functional track, addressing drainage, lighting, bleachers. The city council side seems set on that D option layout that has the fields in the back. There was discussion that subcommittee had met for a very long time, and that was the outcome of the subcommittee. So
I was on the subcommittee.
I know, but sort of where we're at.
And part of the discussion about the backfields is regardless if we put the track and the new field back there, they're going to have to build it up the same amount in order to fix the drainage anyways, or else those fields will continue to be underwater. So original thought was, why move the track? We have a savings potentially by not having to build up that backfield, when the reality is the buildup was for the drainage.
There's going to be significant work to have to be. It's not like we would do some minor changes to that grass soccer field. There's going to have to, build it up over a foot.
Which was
anyway.
never not known. I mean, the whole thing.
Yeah. There was a lot of discussion about turf fields versus grass fields. In the end, it seems like both city council representative wanted 2 turf fields. I asked to have the cost estimate updated both ways.
Who was the city council rep?
Councilor Foote and Councilor Fennessy. Okay. So I asked for the cost estimate both ways, 2 turf fields and 1 grass field, and 2 grass fields and 1 turf field, so that we can continue to have the options for everything. I think that so the goal of the May 20th meeting would be to go over that updated focused cost estimate.
Yeah.
Ms. Meeker and I also brought up that we would like to, potentially today, make a motion to ask our staff to start cost-sharing discussions with the city, because there's a lot of concern, obviously, in the community that the city side, I think, is hearing more about what is going to be the relative cost contributions between the school district and the city. And I think the sooner we start those discussions, the better off we'll be, right?
I mean, aside from what we already
aside
agreed
from
to
the
share?
planning and permitting, right? If we move forward with planning and permitting, hopefully soon, I think we need to start discussions about the costs of the project with the updated cost estimate and what will be the relative share. We asked the city councilors if they would be prepared to ask their staff to begin that, and we didn't get much of a response. So I still think it would be worth getting our side started, and hopefully they will get their
In terms of the
side
option
started.
D, yes, the 2 city councils on the committee were very option D pro. The rest of the city council and the city manager and mayor are not. So it's frustrating for me to not be able to open my big cranky mouth in these meetings and just say, come on now, because I feel like it puts us in this defensive sort of, well, come on, what are you going to do? Well, okay. So that hearing that's just frustrating to me, but I want the public to be clear that there's not a lot of overriding support to moving that field, rearranging the whole field.
So, and what I said that our, as a board's immediate goals is to have functional, the facilities that we need to be functional as soon as possible for the most cost-effective way possible. That is our goal. And the other thing that I also asked about, because it became clear as we were talking about even the most expedient timeline, we still don't have a track for 2 to 3 years. And so I asked for what the minimal repair costs would be for the track, because I think that if the city council doesn't move forward with their half of the permitting and design this year, I think we should at least look at what the cost of minimal track repairs are if we're going to not have a track for 2 to 3 to more years, possibly.
Well, and the bleachers make the football field useless.
Yep, and there was a question about temporary bleachers, and Steve Largy did say that he's pricing out what bleacher rental would cost for homecoming, for example, or graduation potentially.
We're looking at, it would be somewhere around $16,000 for year events to rent the necessary bleachers.
16,000 an event?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Ms. Meeker?
And I would just say, to Madeline's point, the discussion around long-term vision and intermediate repairs, it's very difficult for us to have that conversation as a board that meets once a month, and then as a council that responds once a month.
Right.
Whereas if we feel, and as I do, that if we can engage our district employees to work with city employees because they have much more flexibility in their schedule, they have a high level of expertise and history of these projects, that if we initiate, let's say we send you out to start these cost sharing conversations, which is not just about the vision, but about now we're talking about all these parts along the way, then it allows them to do what they need to do and then come to us with proposals, to come to us as the decision makers to say, okay, this sounds reasonable, this sounds, like it's been vetted by experts. And that way, I feel like it doesn't take away our power, it just puts power in the hands of the right people to have those conversations and then come to us with good options.
Ms. Hastings?
I may be way off here, but have we ever considered having a city council person sit here with us as like student reps do, so that they would understand where we're coming from, and perhaps in turn somebody from the school board sits with the city council, and more it seems our worlds are colliding, and maybe it would be beneficial for them to be here and hear the conversations and be able to go back and share with their people. I don't know, how would that ever happen? Is that something we've ever offered?
Well, the hierarchical difference is, why that would be good is the structure is different. The city council functions very differently than we do as a board in terms of who's in charge and how the chain of command goes down. So I think sometimes a lot of our misunderstandings come from that. So you're right, it would.
Do we just make an offer to have somebody come and sit? Well, how does that work?
They are welcome to come to our meetings.
But I mean,
at any
have
time.
a seat at the table with us, like our student reps do? Do we offer that?
I think that blurs a lot of lines for me. I get where you're coming from, but I'm not sure I'm sold on that. That's like appropriate between our two bodies. The student reps are part of our district. The city council has a different role.
I get that, but yeah, I get it.
I mean, we have joint meetings with them.
Nothing happens though in those meetings.
Maybe those joint meetings should be more often. I have been frustrated by
Well,
what
that
I'm
used to be
perceiving.
the whole committee, and then it turned into something different.
Yeah.
Which I'm not quite sure how that came to be.
I have been frustrated by what I am perceiving a lack of communication and possibly understanding between.
I mean, I'm not
the
sure we
districts.
understand their
Right.
limitations,
Because-
and I know they don't understand our limitations.
Right.
and-
At this meeting, I was like, what do you need from us to move forward?
Which is what I asked
yeah.
individually.
Right.
Before our April 6th meeting.
And I
got 3 different answers.
Yeah. And I think I probably got a different answer. And,
Yeah, I'm sure.
Ms. Meeker?
I mean, I think that there's a lot of opportunity here, as you said, as we kind of bump up against each other to build out these frameworks so that everyone's on the same page, understanding what the, restrictions of the city, a city councilor can't come here and represent the city council.
Right, but they can come see
they
here
can
and
be
sit
one of
and then
one of
report back
15.
what this is what the school board's working on, this is what they're thinking about.
Sure, yeah, and maybe we can explore different avenues of communication. We can, maybe, the minutes from our subcommittee meetings tend, they're not recorded. And so maybe some more robust minute taking might be more helpful. There's definitely strategies that we can employ if we're all coming to the table in good faith, especially around this is a very large project. Like, this is not something that we want to just sort of guess at. And so I appreciate the sentiment.
Well, the other piece too is the deforestation of the entire piece of property takes away a multitude of uses and then adds to the flooding because there's no trees drinking the water, and then we have no bleachers. So now, how I feel frustrated for our school district, or for our students and athletes, is that these two things have just added to an already really difficult situation. And so, it comes right back like, what are we gonna do? Well, okay, you're right, we all need to work together, but we had no say in either of those decisions.
And which is the weird part, because we're getting this weird pushback from the city
Right.
on, you guys need to go first, but it is their property.
Right.
So.
Right, and let us just continue to
And
designate
in the
it.
meantime, they're making a bunch of decisions that have real consequences
Yeah.
on the use of the property.
So, I think the May 20th meeting is important to figure out if they're going forward or not, because I think if they're not going forward, then we need to start making longer range plans for
Our athletics.
our athletics. If we don't like the direction they're going, we can certainly say that. And if you come back with a different recommendation than this joint committee, I have sat in some of those meetings, and I know there are strong opinions from some folks there. I think we have to say what we think is the best for our portion of the tax base and make that recommendation to the full board going forward. I do think I have had a lot of conversations with the superintendent, Mr. Dunn, about, we will need to update our MOU with the city on cost sharing, and that will be much more in-depth. Cost sharing and revenue sharing, if we are going to invest half for this field, that will probably bring in new revenue. There has to be on both sides. I do recognize the pressure the city's getting. I do think it's important that we continue to point out we make a number of financial contributions that we don't charge the city for, including, providing them the building for the community center for $1, which, is a significant asset that
Transportation all summer
we provide transportation all summer long for Parks and Rec, which covers kids who live in both the Merrimack and Concord school districts. We provide our buildings at no cost to the city's Park and Rec, and our fields. We have a number of fields, and we provide them at no cost to the city for their sports and basketball, in addition to closing our schools for elections. So we do make a number of financial contributions to the city, as well as the fact that we are not the only user of Memorial Fields. So the fact that we're going 50-50, I think is, a really good sign of good faith on our part. These are important fields to our community. But if I was Merrimack Valley, I might be, but I don't, we are entirely within the city of Concord, our school district. We make significant financial contributions. I also don't think we want to start tit for tat. Like, I would be happy to see Pennacook get sidewalks for their kids going to school as a Concord taxpayer, and I'm okay with that coming out of my tax base as well. And I think we just have to look at that as well. So, thank you for your report, and good luck on the 20th. Finance, Mr. Dunn?
So in here, and as we had said, we would try to give you a preliminary snapshot of the unassigned fund balance. So in this report, starting on page 122, you can see in the right-hand column, UFB, unassigned fund balance. So this is just taking what we're projecting for the year, for the balance of the year. This will change every day as we start to close out, and we will probably stop any of the spending and open up for purchase orders in the next 2 weeks. But if you go all the way down to the last page, I don't want to, page 128, 129, I kind of summarize, you have FY25 prior year encumbrances. So these are expenses that we had encumbered, but we didn't spend. So that was only $28,000. Then you have the 26 expenses. So that's the amount of all the, what I call the 6 expenses up top. Right now, we're projecting a $2.4 million in savings and expenses. Revenues short 1.609 million, so showing a projected year-end balance of 888,000. Now, you look at the next page, you see you need 1.7 million to carry over to the next year. Now, I'm showing you that number, but I want you to go look at the bottom of 128. If you take a look on the right-hand column, I highlighted two things that I've not taken the full amounts out of the trust funds. That is the transfer from the health risk reserve. See, I'm only counting $1 million coming in, not $2 million coming in. And the same thing for the special ed trust fund, okay? So I'm just playing that off at the moment. But obviously, if I were to say we're taking all of that, that'd be another $2 million. Now you'd be at 2.8. But it's going to be tight. I think you remember when I initially proposed the budget, I had 1.2 million in savings this year. We tried to see if we could up it based on some things, but we'll see. With 32 days left, but who's counting until June 18th? And then you start into the summer the summer programs. What, a week later? Less than a week later. So there'll be some more expenses there. But hopefully we hit that 1.7. If not, we'll have some adjustments in October.
Thank you, Mr. Van.
Can you explain a little bit the 1.6 million short on revenue? What is driving that?
So right now, most of that is because I have that 2 million taken out.
Right.
Plus you have some shortage up. Let me see where I have that. I'm good on the local. The state, I have 9,000.
There's a couple of tuition lines, for example, that are a little lower. That
So
they're
when you
just
look at
less.
then you have, so the revenue in lieu of taxes is called a pilot, payment in lieu of taxes.
Right.
That came in assessed $41,000 less from the city than what it was last year. And then you have Project Search, who has students that have either aged out or we did not have enough students. So that's 65,000 short in revenue. And then you have, right now, I'm projecting the regular day tuition, which is Deerfield. I'm looking at 100,000 short, but we have to wait till that third invoice is done to see where everything lands for the year. Because those kids are pretty committed at this point, but does anybody come in towards the end? And then the other one would be, let me see if I can find the special education tuition.
The bus charters are 95K short.
As of right now, we have to see. A lot of that comes from billing the grants as well.
Okay.
So I will see where they are in their billing. And I think that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Negotiations update? Any updates?
I can
Any public updates?
Yeah, so we did meet with CEA prior to break. When we left, there was a proposal given to them. We'll get that feedback within the next day or so, and we'll have some additional updates for the board negotiations committee coming soon. But we plan to schedule additional meetings with them in the upcoming weeks, potentially this week or next week.
Thank you.
And then certified Concord instructional tutors. We do have a tentative, what I would say, we have a proposal that's out there to their members, and we're waiting for them to get feedback on that. We're optimistic that, unfortunately, it is going to be another one-year contract, but we're optimistic that we're headed into a conclusion of a one-year contract.
Thank
You had anything else, Michelle?
Ms. Karen? Before we do personnel, I'm just going to open it up to public comment so we can do all the votes at once. I'm opening up public comment. Does anyone have any comment they would like to make this evening? Mr. Largy arriving for public comment? No. All right, seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. Ms. Guerin.
Okay, first we have spring coaches, and I will acknowledge a typo under the tennis JV coach. That is a Concord High School position. That is not a Ronlit
I was like,
middle school
we've got
position.
tennis at the middle school? That's
No,
new.
that is
They're gonna be putting some
a
courts
that is a bad. So we do have 2 coaches coming forward for the remaining positions on the spring coaches.
Anyone like to move spring coaches?
So moved.
Ms. Higgins moves spring lacrosse and tennis coaches. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Du Bois. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes. Ms. Guerin.
Okay, we do have 3 new teachers coming forward. These are actually teachers who will be returning this year. So we have Kaylee Platt will be filling one of the alternative programs, the STEM position. William Priebus will return, replacing Megan Birch's resignation, and then Laura Conley will be the kindergarten teacher at Abbott Downing because the teacher will be transferring.
Are these one-year positions?
No,
No?
one of them was a 1-year position.
Okay.
A motion to approve 3 new teachers.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Minot. Discussion. All those in.
It was Ms. Sadowski.
Oh, sorry. Sounds a little bit alike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? New teachers are approved. We have the nominations below for the teachers. We have 2 leave of absence requests, I believe,
Correct.
in our book.
Yep, you do. They were handed out in the pink envelopes.
Is there a motion on leave of absence requests?
I move that we accept the 2 leave of absence requests.
Ms. Higgins moves acceptance of the 2 leave of absence requests. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sadowski. Any discussion would need to be in non-public at this point. So
We're voting on them together?
we can separate them if you like. They were moved together.
Oh, okay.
All right. Will you withdraw your motion?
I withdraw my motion.
Thank you. Move the first leave of absence request from, I'm just going to do it by school and hope they're not the same
They're at the same school.
They're at the same school, of course.
Yeah,
they
one
are.
of one's a full year and one is a half
Okay,
year.
all right. Would someone like to move the modification of the previously approved leave of absence
I move
request?
that we accept the modified version of the previously approved leave of absence request.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sadowski. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to move the year-long?
I move that we accept the year-long leave of absence position.
Is there a second?
I second.
Moved by Ms. Higgins, seconded by Ms. Sadowski. Any further discussion would need to be in non-public because there are personnel reasons for that. So I'm just going to call for a vote on it unless anyone would like to request a non-public. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Motion passes. Next up is approval of the My View, My Perspective ELA programs.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Ms. Sadowski, second by Ms. Higgins.
Is it the 5-year, or the motion's for the 5 years?
Yes.
Both math.
With deep appreciation to folks who contributed to the recommendation.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Who was the second?
Ms. Higgins.
Emotional second.
Emotional second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes. Motion to approve a 5-year purchase of the Carnegie Learning Math Program.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Higgins. Seconded by Mr. Dubois. Everybody wants to second it. We're so excited about math tonight. All right. All those in discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
It's just so fun to talk about
Motion
school
carries.
stuff.
Yes.
Not
It
like
always
building
is.
stuff and money stuff and property stuff.
Motion to approve the recommendation of Kristen Gallo to serve as the Assistant Superintendent for Instruction, Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment.
So moved.
Or CIA, as apparently we're calling it.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved by Ms. Hastings, seconded by Ms. Sadowski. Is there discussion?
Yay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Yay.
Motion to approve Kaylee Roroki as District Director of Student Services.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hastings. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Ms. Roroki is approved. Motion, I will take a motion to approve Mr. James Corcoran as the new principal of Concord High School. Moved by Ms. Higgins. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Minot. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes. Yay! Congratulations. Motion to approve Andrea Hall as the new Director of Student Services at Concord High School.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Meeker. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I will abstain because I know this candidate.
That is not, you don't have, you can,
Oh.
but you do not have to. That is not a conflict of interest, if you, unless she's paying you.
I just used to work at the same school as her, so
That's not a conflict.
then I will vote aye.
Yeah, all right. If you were voting no, we would want to know more. Motion to approve the purchase of 120 Conant Street.
Just 20.
20, sorry.
I have a specific I will take a motion, yes. If Ms. Higgins, if you'd like to make the motion.
I move that the Concord Board of Education hereby approves and ratifies a certain purchase and sale agreement dated April 15th, 2026, for the acquisition of property located at 20 Conant Drive, Concord, New Hampshire, for the purchase price of $372,500. The board further acknowledges that this property will be utilized by the district and its agents in connection with the new middle school project.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Meeker. Discussion. We had a lot of discussion.
We had a lot of discussion already.
Do we need a roll call vote on this?
I would.
You would like that. Okay, Ms. Meeker, if you will call the roll.
Mr. Du Bois.
Yes.
Ms. Hastings.
Yes.
Ms. Higgins.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Minot.
Yes.
Ms. Sadowski.
Yes.
Ms. Walsh.
Yes.
All right, with 2 absent, motion carries.
And that might have been close to a record number of votes.
I was just gonna say,
outside of
that's
a
a
budget
lot of
meeting,
votes.
but we are done with votes. Proposed calendars. On Friday, there's a Career Pathways event at the high school if any board members want to attend. Monday, Communication and Policy at 5:30, Instructional on Wednesday at 5:30. On the 18th, Negotiations at 5, followed by Finance at 5:30. On Wednesday, we now have 4 p.m. City and Community Relations.
Is that going to be here or there?
It's going to be at the community center.
Okay, great.
At the community center, and then executive committee at 5. Building committee will not happen on the 21st now?
Correct.
Okay. Memorial Day on the 25th. On the 27th, we have distinguished educators and our retiree ceremony at Abbott Downing at 6 p.m. And on the 28th, we have the CRTC commencement at 6 p.m. In June, we have the regular board meeting at 6 p.m. on the 1st, building committee on the 4th at 5:30, a tentative special board meeting on the 8th at 6 p.m. This will be to follow up on recommendations from the building committee on value engineering of the building and additions and subtractions as we look at what the bids actually come in at, and to answer lead certification. Communication and policy at 5:30 on Wednesday. Concord High School graduation at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Looking forward to your speech, Ms. Gallo. Executive at 5 p.m. on the 15th. Finance at 5:30. 8th grade moving up ceremony on the 17th at 5:30. Is that going to be at Renlet? Yep. Okay. Last day of school, eagerly awaited by some in my household, on the 18th. And strangely 2 weeks of no meetings scheduled that I'm sure we'll do something about.
Well, track camp is the 23rd to the 22nd to the 26th.
My girls are excited.
All right.
It's like my favorite week. It's chaos. But
It doesn't, we don't have enrollment reports on here, but it doesn't look like there's any major changes. It's not on the agenda.
it's not on the agenda, but it's in the book.
It's in the book, but it looks,
Yeah, it's there.
14B. It was just a move around of the agenda due to
We don't-
the property.
Yep.
You tell them, Bridget.
We don't have any major changes, but I would just highlight something that, again, some of our biggest variations have been, again, our students in transitional living situations. We've had 6 increase there, as well as students declaring homeschool status. We've had 3 more, and we have some in currently that we're just working with families, but likely go that route within the next week or so. So we do continue to grow in those 2 categories.
thank you. Any questions? That concludes our public business. We have a non-public tonight for Mr. Cashman to update on security measures at the schools.
Nobody second. Nobody second that motion.
I haven't made a motion yet.
I was gonna say, don't. I'm just kidding.
I will move that we go into non-public session under RSA 91A3 to discuss security. Seconded by Ms. Higgins. This is a roll call vote.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Miss.
Just give him a second.
Yeah.
Mr. Du Bois.
Yes.
Ms. Hastings.
Yes.
Ms. Higgins. I am a yes. Ms. Minot.
Yes.
Ms. Sadowski. Yes. Ms. Walsh.
Yes.
All right.
We will not be coming back from non-public, so we will let Concord TV go home.